Guys and Dolls, well, it's always been one of my favourite shows. I think the songs are great, it's very upbeat, and we had a few very strong singers, and I was just thinking what show would be a good one to show them off.
I would liken producing a musical to, might sound absurd, childbirth. Sort of thing, you know, when it happens, you say never again. And then of course, time bends and memory fades, and you actually volunteer for something that you forget is, whew.
On Happy Valentine, on the boarding line, the good starts here, bringing out by tonight. We'll get it ourselves, has one on help, this choice is here, has one round. We'll get it out on flat, our hands look alright, as all these messages spread us on. On Happy Valentine, nice words of wine, this just keeps us nice and wine.
What's the pitch? Just tell them about all the terrible things you've done, that you're not going to do it no more.
I mean, when I was a kid, I used to be real bad, you know, but I don't do that stuff anymore, you know. As proven by my record, 33 assists, 0 convictions.
James, what is an assist? The line is whatever, 33 arrests and 0 convictions. Yeah, but you've done that a few times now, okay? Come on, arrests. Assist doesn't make any sense. Okay?
And then it's a case of really waiting to see who auditions and who turns up, and we had a great turnout, and we cast, I think, really well.
I have to say, I think it's actually the singing is my favourite. There's one song that's called I'll Know, and it's the first song I sing. It's a little bit with Sky, and it's just a really, really lovely song. It's one of the highest songs I've ever sang, I think, which was it took a lot of work to prepare for, but it is one of the sweetest songs ever, and it's just the loveliest thing to sing.
Robin agus and Max, Sarah agus Sky, so Kate need is tá sé sin on pieces and drama is fiar lumsa, mar ceapan just tá sé go holan fad.
I think it's quite a funny play. There's a few scenes that I think there'll be a few giggles. There's a kissing scene for me, which I think will be a bit. Should get a few laughs.
Set in New York City, and it's about this kind of not cartoon world of gangsters, or not even gangsters, likable rogues who are ducking beneath the laws that prohibit illicit gambling, horses, dice, you name it. And contrasting with that, then we have the Save a Soul mission, trying to turn people towards the good book, towards the Lord, and trying to turn them from their ways of evil doing. But within that is interlaced some cracking tunes, some snappy dialogue, some good laughs.
Níl mé nervhí seach anocht mar tá mé ag chana agus géanamh rudí le daoine eile, ach sa drama eile bhí mé géanamh gach rud éonar agus bhí sé sin anna nervhí seach ach nó just ceafam gfuil sé níos fiar or níos éasca a dhéanamh rudí le daoine eile.
I really like the play. It's quite engaging. There's a lot going on in it, obviously. There's two main stories. There's my character, Nathan, who's trying to set up an illegal gambling game which kind of ties in with Sky and Sarah, who are played by Max and Robin. Nathan has betted Sky that he couldn't take Robin to Havana on a trip for $1,000 so that he can pay for a location for his game.
You need sinners, don't you?
We're managing.
When's this big prayer meeting of yours? Thursday? I guarantee that I can fill this place with 12 genuine sinners. What not? They'll sit still and they'll listen to you.
And what's my end of the bargain?
Have dinner with me.
Why do you want to have dinner with me?
I'm hungry. Here.
It was much easier working with Mr. Clarke and Mr. Swift because they're both really good actors themselves and they knew how to, you know, set up the scene.
You coming in late is, I want you to stand actually just sort of in the middle, at the back, at the table, okay? So come on now, I'll show you what I mean, alright?
Tristan, terrific. I mean, he came in just on board and wasn't sure at the beginning what he was going to be doing, and by the end he was an absolute vital. He's terrific at the walking on, walking off, doing stuff on the stage.
And now Hector will be here as well. So yeah, so if Hector comes, he stands here.
And then of course Swifty was just fantastic. I mean, just time and nothing. It was just every evening and wonderful.
Adelaide and Nathan as MJ and Sienna, and they sing their song Sue Me, the lights go down, and then MJ's going off to the mission.
RV and Sarah and the General are going to leave the rest of the mission band on. Okay? So boys, you have to stand back and let the girls out first. Girls, you plant yourselves where we spoke about up there, and then you move forward slightly to welcome the boys in, but then when Alex starts singing, you move over again.
Okay, girls, get up out of the way of those guys doing the lugging. You go back into the drama room, please.
Can we do that again?
Really nervous guys, I'm sorry I don't have time. Okay. Lights up. It's now several minutes past midnight. Isn't anyone coming? Something's very wrong.
Maybe your watch is fast?
General, I know what's wrong. I'm wrong. I've failed. I've spoken to these people day after day. I think you'd better just...
Yeah, well, actually at the beginning of this week I got a virus and then I was taking Nurofen and I didn't realise asthmatic people weren't meant to take Nurofen and I got checked into hospital for the past week.
O'Connor, and she's from Kilorglin in Kerry and knows Mr. Jones, and she's a professional dancer. She studied it in London and she's now in Dublin working in various dance shows and does some teaching and Pilates and yoga and all that, but she's a very terrific way with the girls and they really responded to her.
There's two dance sort of scenes because one of the main characters, Miss Adelaide, is a singer and a dancer in the Hot Box Club. We get that kind of nightclub vibe of New York in the earlier part of the 20th century, and we got in an outside choreographer because Miss Julie Robinson actually took on the task of drilling the girls in their routines. So she was incredibly helpful because we only had the choreographer up twice, and she showed them what to do. We videoed it with an iPad, and then behind closed doors and on their own time, the girls, who were great and very committed, practiced it to the level
Please
that
first.
they
The left leg's first. Okay, so it's 1. Yeah, it's very, very deliberately this arm now has become one, these two arms have become one unit. Yes, it's like a windmill. No, I like you turning, but make sure you're turning the same way. But just say for the original of it, it was very clean. This, so do it with me. 1, 2, 3, and are you just turning?
Yeah.
If you're just, no, it's great if you're turning, don't worry. Yeah, if you're turning, great. But still, keep some energy in your hands. If you lose your hands, it looks funny. Yeah, so keep that.
So it was a useful and a helpful part of the process that the two scenes with them are quite discreet in terms of the rehearsal process. They just slot in, but they don't have to be there all the time. They didn't have to be there all the time. So yeah, really pleased with that. I let them do their own thing, and they.
Particularly hairy moment, even in rehearsal, and I was always a bit anxious in the show, but it actually did come off great, was the Sit Down, You're Rocking a Boat. And it's a notorious chorus that even our pianist said she had done with choral societies who had very rocky moments. But for us, even a week beforehand, I was thinking, we've got to cut this number, we can't do it. And just the kids really gave it their all. It's very difficult. It's a very high solo, and Alex did a terrific job.
I'd say this is the first ever musical I've been in, although I have done stuff previously in choirs and stuff when I was younger. But yeah, I'd say this is definitely my first musical.
That's the moment I woke up. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord.
There were a few quite difficult moments for me in the play. A lot of the songs were quite difficult, and I got like a solo quite not that long ago. So there were a few difficult moments, but I've overcome that, and it's all good.
But the chorus itself is very difficult. So what I did was actually I kind of cut out the band for about 8 bars and just had piano going with a particularly rhythmical, difficult bar section, and it worked great.
I said to myself, sit down, sit down, sit down. Said to myself, sit down, sit down, rock the boat. Sit down, you're rocking, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat.
Back in Rhode Island. She thinks we're already married.
And why would she think a thing like that?
My favourite scene would probably be the scene where Adelaide breaks to Nathan that he has a child. And in the scene, he's kind of coming to terms with his new child that she's fabricated to tell her mother.
What type of baby was it?
I named him after you, Nathan.
Oh, thank you. Where's Nathan Jr. supposed to be at the moment?
He's at boarding school. I wrote another he won a football game last Saturday.
I wish I had a bet on it.
I feel like in the scene, me and Nathan play off each other quite well, and it flows really well. Adelaide fabricated that she had a baby to her mother because they'd been engaged for so long, and Nathan was just kind of coming to terms with this when she breaks to him that there were
5! Your mother is a glutton for punishment.
Of course, she has a solution to the problem.
What are we gonna do?
We can get married.
There is no real set backdrop in the college, and it can be quite constrictive. Anyway, because in a play like this or a musical like Guys and Dolls, you're looking at Broadway street scene, interior of a Salvation Army band mission. You're looking at a scene that's set in Cuba, one down in a sewer, and as I said before, the Hot Box nightclub. How are you going to do something that covers all those things with the resources and time we have? well, I think you play on imagination. Lighting and sound are what we've decided to use as the scene setter. It's like that. We have some lighting effects called gobos, which are just like a stencil, which project like the street sign for Broadway, or the cityscape of Brooklyn Bridge and the Empire State. But other than that, we're really using some colour tones. Blue is going to be nighttime, outdoor. Warmer, slightly orangey red is suggesting the interior of the mission. We have a really tight overhead lamp for the kind of claustrophobic surroundings of the sewer, and with that then we have a nice drip with a lot of reverb that just tells us where we are and moves us on. We have crickets and cicadas for Cuba, and a green light to suggest that kind of tropical setting. So that's the way you have to be thinking, I think, when you've got such a variety.
That's the way I just got to behave. Boy, if I were a lamb, I'd light. But if I were a man, you asked me, how do I feel? Literally with my quiet gathering. Well, sir, what I can say is if I were a gay, I'd be swinging. And if I were a watch, I'd start hopping my springs. Or if I were a man, I'd go ding dong,
Yeah, we had a nice group. Again, it was a show that we had to have a little backing, as opposed to maybe just piano. Obviously, we couldn't have a whole band, as in wind and brass and whatever. We wouldn't even have space for it. So we had piano, drum kit, and then to give a kind of a nice 20s sound, we had 2 violins and cello. Now, in order to get parts for that, because you can't, to hire a score costs in the region of a couple of thousand, which we wouldn't have and it would be pointless anyway. So I arranged parts from a piano score. So it was a bit dodgy for me on the first night because we'd never done it together. It was just hoping everything would work. And there was the odd little tweak here and there, but overall, I thought it gave a lovely sound.
I developed the accent for Big Julie when I watched the original Guys and Dolls. Marlon Brando, one of my absolute favorite actors of all time, was in it, and I didn't know that until a little bit beforehand. But I did know he was in one of my favorite films, The Godfather. So my character, Big Julie, is sort of almost a parody, a little inside joke of Marlon Brando in The Godfather, in the musical he had been in several years previously, Guys and Dolls. To change my luck, I think I'll use my own dice.
Your own dice?
I had them made especially for me in Chicago.
Not that I wish to see Penny, but let me see these dice again. Hey, these dice are blank. They got no spots on them. They're blank.
Relax. I've had the spots removed for luck in Chicago. But don't worry, I can call it remembering where the spots formerly were.
You are gonna roll blank dice and calling them from where the spots formerly was.
I don't see why not.
I see no reason.
I remember there was one night, there's a scene where all the gamblers are assembled in a sewer, kind of holding the game on an emergency note after they got busted. Adelaide, Nathan's girlfriend, comes along, and because there's a policeman present there, Nathan has to kind of make up a story to say that he's getting married. Alex Russell's character, Benny Southstreet, comes along and starts singing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow, and on the last line, James O'Connor's character, who's Big Julie, is meant to come and say, which nobody cannot deny, but instead, once he said, and so say all of us, and just the whole cast erupted.
Which nobody can deny.
I really love to be involved in more plays and musicals because, I don't know, it makes you close to other people. There are people in this play that I'd never talked to before. I think it brings various group of people together, and we produced an awesome play. I think this play rocks.
And people like Geraldine, Malone, Brady are so gifted in music, make that whole compartment really is hers. And Tristan Clarke joined me then as sort of a second director, and he's brilliant in detail. He loves getting into the text, the dynamic of the different characters, taking aside a couple of actors from a scene and working with them individually.
To say the least, Miss Malone Brady, of course, obviously, she's been the backbone of the show with her musical contribution and the band as well. They've been fantastic. Miss Malone Brady recommended that I do singing for my junior cert. She thought I'd get a better grade. It has really helped me strengthen my voice this year. She's helped me increase my range a lot. I've ranged from now a bass to a baritone.
I think it's really wonderful because this is my second year in the college, and I'm meeting wonderful people, working with different people. It's been amazing, like MJ, Alex, everyone. It's been a wonderful experience.
Then last night in his apartment, he tried to remove them all. And I said, as I ran down the hall, take back your toils. What made you think that I was one of those girls? Take back the gown, the shoes, and the hat. I may be down, but I know that's all right. I thought that each expensive gift you arranged was a token of your rescue. When I think of what you want in exchange, it all seems a horrible dream. So, take back your thing from whence it came and tell them to polarize it for some other day. Take back your ring, take back your pearls. What made you think that I was one of those girls? I'm screaming, take back the gown, take back the hat. I may be down, but I'm not far as all that. I thought that each expensive gift you arranged was a token of your esteem. When I think of what you want to change, it all seems horrible.
Probably one of my favourites really was the Luck Be a Lady kind of sequence with the guys in the sewer. It was a tough one to choreograph, and to get together with the singing and the chorus together, but I thought Max did a great job, and then when the guys came in, it was actually quite unexpected, I think. People didn't expect them to actually sing and join in with them, and it was really terrific.
What's the matter, Sky? You turning chicken? You've all seen me roll for 100 G's. But I got a little more than dough riding on this one. They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out. You're on the stage with me. The pickings have been lush, and yet before this evening is over, you might give me the brush. You might forget your manners. You might refuse to stay. And so the best that I can do is pray. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. I know the way you treated other guys you've been with. Luck be a lady with me. A lady doesn't leave her escort. It isn't fair, it isn't nice. A lady doesn't wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice. So let's keep the party polite. Never get out of my sight. Stick with me, baby, I'm the fella you came in with. Luck be a lady. Luck be a lady. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck let a gentleman see. Luck let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. How nice a dame you can be. I know the way you treat a lady. Luck be a lady with me. A lady doesn't flirt with strangers. She have a heart. She have a soul. A lady doesn't make them snake eyes and see guys. I bet my life and it's a problem. So let's keep the party polite. Let's keep the party polite. Never get out of my sight. Never get out of my sight. Stick with me, stay here, baby. Stay here, baby. Love be a lady. 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 What's the matter? Roll the dice. Love it out, love it out, love it out, love it out. Ha!
There is one musical that I would quite like to do in a couple of years' time, all going well.
Nathan, close up your stand. We're getting married.
Dave!
Come on!